In an attempt to get rid of the rest of our turkey from Thanksgiving, I'm going to make a pot pie today. Pretty simple to make. A couple cups of vegetables that can be frozen, 1 onion, 1/3 cup of flour, half a teaspoon of salt and pepper, 1/3 cup of butter, 1 3/4 cups of broth, half a cup of milk is what are the ingredients for this. Pretty easy project. Okay, I added a potato to this too, and I usually add a potato to it. I didn't have that initially. Essentially what you do is get your butter melted. You don't want to get it over crazy hot so you start browning it. So watch your temperatures. Take your onion and potatoes, add them in there to begin with. So cook these for about 2 minutes just to soften them up a bit. And once you get them softened and cooked so lightly, you'll want to add the chicken broth at a point here once they've cooked for a couple minutes. And as for turkey, like I said, I've gone ahead and got the turkey out, so I'll need to chop up about 2.5 cups of that. And also a little addition with this is I actually have some gravy. This is from a smoked turkey I did, so I actually have some gravy left over that I'm going to mix in with the roux once it's completed. My lovely wife just reminded me about the potatoes. What I've got in here are not russets. I prefer russets because they tend not to break down as much when you cook them, so they're a little firmer when you put them into the pot pie. So you'll also get some starch from this. These are 3 of them that I did earlier that you'll see on the videos at the end. I'm on working backwards today. Okay, got the turkey all cut up. Another thing we like to do is we go down to the local store and we either get some of their roasted chicken that we eat off of for a couple days, and when we end up with leftovers, we'll chop it up like this and end up making it into pot pie so we have extras. You could even do it with rotisserie chicken. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start the oven now and pre-warm it at 425. Get it started up. And now that you've got that done, just go ahead and sprinkle the flour in to make your roux. Stir that up as you're going until it's mixed well. Add salt and pepper. Try to get it mixed up pretty good. It'll look kind of dry for a second until you add the chicken broth. And give this a quick stir. And then add this in. Give it a stir. And then I'm going to use that also to put my 1/2 cup of milk in that needs to be added at this point. Okay, now you just let her cook a little bit, and it's already starting to thicken up. Get it in there and get it to boil a little bit or bubble a little. When it comes to chicken broth, this is the type I like to use as opposed to the cube. I haven't been able to find a cubed product that doesn't have monosodium glutamate, so try to stay away from that as much as possible. And here is some leftover gravy from the smoked turkey, so the gravy is actually smoked too. And because we still have an abundance of this left over, I am going to add it into this. Again, watch your heat so you're not up there too crazy high. Enough to let it simmer. Again, it's nice and thick now. So really, like I say, I haven't shown the time, but it's taken all 20 minutes to do this entire thing, not including baking time. So now goes the chicken, or the turkey in this case, going in, the 2 cups of mixed vegetable, and the rest of the gravy. Okay, now just mix it all up. And let it warm up because those vegetables were frozen a little bit, so we're going to bring it back into just a little slight bubble. The potatoes got another roughly half an hour to 40 minutes to cook. So when you put this in the oven, when it reaches temp, you want to go ahead and get her at least somewhat warmed before you put it in there. And then of course, hopefully when you're all done, it'll look something like those. But this is a good bunch of filling in here. And with the gravy and stuff too, it'll make it extra yummy. But a good way to use up some of that Thanksgiving turkey. The best part about doing the cooking is if I do the cooking, my wife cleans up, and if she does the cooking, she cleans up. So it works out great. Finalizing the pot pie. Basically, I use just regular store-bought crust for this. Pretty simple. Pop them open. And what I typically do too, as I go along, as I get them out, especially the bottom one, I'll roll it out a little bit more and just make sure I've got it nice and flat. Gives me a little extra dough to work with as it goes down inside on the base pastry. So here I've got it out of the package, and it's pretty simple. Again, just kind of stretched out a little bit. You don't need to press real hard. Just kind of roll it out just a little bit more than normal. Again, just so you get a little bit extra dough to work with when you're assembling the pie in the end and putting it in there. Again, once it's in here, you just want a little bit over the edges and stuff too for when you put the top on the pot pie. And of course distribute it. And then I'll get into the filling here in just a moment. Okay, now again, just say getting it in here, putting it down in the corners and stuff. Pretty darn simple stuff, really. I haven't been cooking forever, but a long time, but it's pretty simple. Then just pack her up with the goodies. I didn't mention it earlier, and what I made here, essentially this is a lot of leftovers from Thanksgiving. So there's a lot of turkey in here. I went ahead and used the regular roux that I made up, and I might have mentioned that earlier, but also something that I added because it is Thanksgiving leftovers. I smoke my turkey, so I make gravy from the smoked turkey, and I also, of course, using up leftovers, took some of that gravy and actually added it in here with the regular roux, so it has that really nice smoky scent to it, and of course the taste of the gravy will come through along with the smoked turkey. So just get her filled up. Okay, we got her filled up. Now in the next part of it here, you may or may not need to roll this out a little bit. I do just to make sure I've got just enough, because I do a special kind of a tuck when I put this together. So I'm going to throw it on top next. Okay, with it all covered up now, typically what I do here is you can see it kind of comes over the edge a little bit because whoops, a little extra there, is I fold it underneath. So what I'll do is I'll take the two pieces here and I will literally fold that underneath like that to get it to the edge of the pie. And I'll do that all the way around, just to keep the juices, of course, from making a mess in your stove and stuff too. And then when you get all done, it'll look something like this. Again, I fancy them up a little bit. I believe sometimes making it look good is better to eat. And as for the edges here, all I really do is take a fork and go around the edge after I rolled it all and formed it, and then I just take that and press it in like so, and just kind of compress it. Don't need to squish it too much. It just kind of holds the two layers of doughs together. Gives you a real nice crust. And now it's time for the oven. It just beeped. So at 425 degrees, you want to watch it till it starts to turn brown. If you have, or if you can, when it gets close to like the last 15 or 20 minutes of the bake period, you'll want to get some foil out and potentially, you know, cover the edges so this doesn't get too dark on the outside. And then it's all done. How to cover the crusts. So when you're getting close to the end and your crusts are starting to brown, as you can see here, that little circle, what I've done is I've taken another pie tin, because it's really difficult to take a piece of this and try to wrap it around the edge. So what I've done here is just take a pie tin like this and real simply just kind of go around the edges kind of close and just take your knife and cut around the edges. And then of course you don't get right up, or you know, if you end up out here a little farther than what you want to be, just tuck it underneath a little bit. And then when you're done, as you'll see here, you get a nice little template in a sense that goes right over the top of the crust and keeps it from getting too brown. So I'm in the process of doing one for the second pie that's in there. And here we have the finished product. As you can see, it still got a little dark around the edges, I think, because I didn't press down my little template probably far enough, but not bad. You know, again, brings me back to the days as a kid when I used to love the pot pies that you used to get at the store, and the little tiny little deals and the nice hard crusts on the outside and the soft on the inside, and dump them out, turn them upside down and eat them. But these are really quite simple to make. They don't take a lot of time, and they're really, really good. So take the effort and a few minutes of time and put these together.